Hello, wonderful woman, and welcome to my channel. Most Deaf is the name of the channel, and it's an abbreviated version of Most Simba's definition. While on here, I hope to inspire reverence of what's sacred by sharing a perspective or my opinion, which I consider to be quite rarely heard. So join me as I share my ideas, and do feel free to share your own as well. Let's converse and talk differently about popular and unpopular issues as they come at us in the world today. So our topic today is one that is very personal to me. It's based upon trauma, and I'm going to title it "Minimizing Trauma" with address the unaddressed. Which I wanted to throw in a pun in there for to turn it into address the undressed, right? Because I don't know much about you guys, but for me, I've had trauma happen in my life at a very early age, and what's most unfortunate is how it was dealt with, and the action or inaction in dealing with or handling a very disturbing event in my life, or disturbing events in my life. Because for me as a child, I do not know why. I still have not yet figured out why a lot of these traumatic things happened to me. Well, to be right bare out and say it, to come right out and say it, I've been defiled multiple times as a kid, and while not like the full grown on man on top of me and like you know though thankfully not extremely sexually, like being molested, I guess, but I've been defiled, I've been touched wrongly by many people all through my young life. And the problem was, it was both in my house and outside. Like anywhere I went, it's like I don't know. I don't know how I can explain it, but that's just how my life was. And I've never been able to figure out why that was the case, and why all that happened to me. And the most painful part about everything is that confiding in my mom was just something that was, it was not a welcome thing to run to my mom to just tell her, this is happening. Because I just never felt safe telling her anything that I was going through, and with good reason, because if I told her, then she would just throw it back in my face and say that I called it towards myself, I wanted it, or some other thing like that, like I was a bad kid or something. But nothing ever happened to the perpetrator. There was never a conversation or any form of punishment that I saw, or even the comfort itself just from your parent to just tell you that she's sorry that it happened. And it's always like you're not taking good care of yourself, you're going there asking for it. So I just really never understood why this was my reality, and up to date I still don't understand why. But that's generally the gist of it. So as I've come to grow up now, and now all this 32 years old, I still struggle with relationships with men. I struggle with how I handle my relationships, and I don't trust anybody. Like, I can't keep a relationship to save my life, or I haven't come across a person who maybe empathizes with what I've gone through and is like strong enough or willing and ready enough to help me process these fears and overcome them, successfully. So either way, it is my responsibility 100% to cater to my own emotions and figure out why I am the way I am, and try and find a balance between who I grew up as and who I've come to know myself as, because for sure in that environment there was a lot of minimizing. I wasn't really heard growing up. And it's just like manifested into the person that I am, because I've tended to be a loner. Like, I just keep to myself. But while some of these characteristics are on a little bit of a positive side, on the negative side is like I have great self-doubt. I don't think I'm good enough. I don't think whatever I'm doing is big enough. It's like it's making enough impact. Like, there's just always an air of, a condescending thing. Like, I condescend myself, and I entertain it from a lot of other people, which is also why I've been, and I think I still do sometimes unconsciously, people please. Yeah, I'm a people pleaser, and I tend to be codependent, and all these things are things that I'm continuously working on, because I am yet to absolutely, mesh those two different parts of me, because yeah, I just always feel stifled, like I didn't grow up, or I wasn't, I wasn't given the enough time to like learn myself, and I've had to learn myself after I was out of my mother's house. And yeah, I've had to grow again, it's because I was stunted. There's a point in my life where my life, my growth just stopped. It was just stunted, like my personal growth, because yeah, in terms of education, yeah, it was working, but then an even bigger blow happened when I lost my dad. Like, he was my best friend, so I lost him like just when I was about to finish, yeah, just in January of my last year of primary school. Yeah, so yeah, just when I was in standard 8 about to do my KCP, my father passed on. And that's just a very big blow, and I think it just brought to life all those other things that I had never dealt with. And how I dealt with my trauma is forgetting. Like, I forget really fast, but I also cut people off really fast as well, like I'll forget you and cut you off like quick, easy. So I think I've done that so many times in my brain that I just forget, the bad things that happen, because then even if I keep running them in my mind, then they will drag me under. So my only reflex is to forget, cut it off and forget. But while it helps me move forward, it also takes me back, because those are issues that I have refused to deal with. I have refused to remember, refused to acknowledge, and it doesn't mean they go away just because I forget about them or choose to forget about them. They linger and they affect a lot of the bigger decisions that I make in life. And yeah, my point today is we just need to be careful about the trauma that we have all faced, because I believe a lot of us have gone through trauma that we can't talk about, and this is why these things are rarely talked about, because it's like taboo. And you see, I even have to do like a podcast on it instead of like a live channel where you get to see me. I wouldn't even want to be known for this, because then my whole family comes under attack, my mom comes under attack. And while it's the truth that this is what happened, and this is the current situation ongoing, I still don't want them to be, to be attacked over something like this. For me, it's my job to make peace with it and recreate a life for myself that I'm proud of, and try as hard as I can to not let these things flow over into the parenting that I have, or the relationship that I have with my son and any other kids that God might bless me with in life, So it's really tough, and the point of making this video or this audio is just to connect with others who are obviously in the same position that I am in. They have gone through things they cry about that really debilitate them in so many other ways, but they have to put on a brave face. They can't talk about it because it's going to shed a bad light on their family, the love of your mom, like the mother's love that you have for your mom, the love that you have for your mom, forget about the love she has for you, but the love that you have for your mother just, encourages you to protect that relationship, regardless of how broken or non-existent it is. Like, you still want to protect it. It's a bond that you can't explain, that it's just too deep, right? So you don't want to come out on the TV screens shouting to the world like, oh, my mom was horrible when I was growing up and all this, But at the end of the day, you're still a human, and you're still acknowledging the fact that bad things happen to you, and someone was supposed to protect you and care for you, and you feel the need to be heard, you feel the need to express yourself and just get it off your chest. You feel the need to connect with others who have probably gone through the same thing, and just, I don't know, like, heal together, or just share and like minimize the pain that you feel on a day-to-day basis. So yeah, as a people, especially the Black community, we have this thing where we tend to say that that's a white man's disease. When you see someone struggling with mental issues, or drug use, or unable to keep a job, unable to keep a relationship, all these emotional issues that people are having, financial issues, like, they all stem from somewhere. But as a community of Black people, we have refused to acknowledge the root cause, And even when it's pointed out that the victim who's going through it, or the person who's most affected by the situation that is at hand, when they express their feelings, it's like they're shut down or ignored, overlooked, as just someone who's choosing to be weak. I don't know, I guess, but we never really take the time to actually sit with this person and allow them to air out their feelings, and for us to actually just listen instead of giving all our opinions unsolicited. Just listen and relate with the person. Try and relate with where the person is coming from, because I don't believe in, okay, maybe there are people who go around crying wolf all day, but yeah, and they do bring a problem and cause an issue for those who are really genuine with their problems or with their situations. But the response to traumatize children, adults, people, animals, everything, like, is just not right. It's just not right. And we have this tendency of asking people to just toughen up, like, or we relate to them like, hey, even for me, it's the same, you put your Me Too story there, yeah, and maybe that's not what the person needs. The person just needs to be heard and understood, and just walked through the process of acceptance, because that's the only thing you can do. You can only accept that it happened, and I believe if you can share your story, which is also why I'm doing this, just to share my truth, because that is my truth. I wouldn't say it if it's not true, and it's really hard to talk about anyway. So I wouldn't do it unless I felt like maybe someone out there will feel like, if she could tell her story, I can too. And if she could survive her circumstances, like I can too, That's basically it. But yeah, people need to be very sensitive about the traumas that we've endured. And when you look at it, it just shows in our society today, guys, we're like really reactive to the trauma that we have all come from. Like, whichever trauma you're coming from, it shows as an adult. Guys are so addicted to alcohol, to anything to just help them escape those thoughts in their mind. They're not really escaping reality. They're even addicted to their jobs, addicted to money and all those things. Yeah. Because you can't sit down alone. The people cannot spend time alone. People out here are finding it very hard to love themselves because of this unaddressed trauma. There's so much hurt going on inside of us. That's why there's so much, broken relationships, unsustainable relationships, toxic relationships. It's because we are bonding from our trauma. It's a trauma response to bond with someone else who's undergone the same pain that you have. But instead of helping each other heal, we just want to be in the comfort of, yeah, this person understands where I'm coming from, they're my person because of that. But then later it just proves to be a very incompatible situation, and guys are really doing terrible things after it's realized that no, this is not going to work. But it's because we've refused to address the trauma that we have undergone. Yeah, most of us are not whole out here, and we have no business in a relationship. And until we give ourselves those seats in silence, we take our seat in silence, just sit in silence and just silence and listen. Yeah, silently ask those questions that burn your heart, burn your mind, burn your spirit, and listen to the responses that come. Don't doubt the responses. They're very little nudges, tiny voices, but that's the noise you need. That's the response you need to keep going. Yeah, so I think it would be interesting to hear from others who've gone through the same, are going through the same. And for me, as I think a survivor or a struggling survivor, because I'm still struggling to balance out the two, like the two different aspects of my life, my childhood and my present, what I was taught and what I have come to learn. Those, as in, yeah, meshing the two pieces of me together is a struggle, and it's an ongoing, like it's still ongoing, and we won't stop, and we can never stop, and it's a lifelong mission. So there is no final destination. You just keep going and keep going. Yeah. But in terms of self-love, knowing myself, appreciating myself, seeing my worth, and speaking my truth, it has really helped me. Sitting in silence has really helped me figure out who I am and who I'm meant to be. And yeah, even help me forgive all these negative aspects that have been my life, But that's all from me for today. If you have anything you'd like to share with me, hit me up on my Instagram. The link is on the description box below. Yeah, DM me on Instagram, and you can send me an email. I'm going to purposely put comments off on my uploads because, yeah, we're not doing it for the likes. I'm not doing it for the likes or the follows. I'm just doing it so that another human out there can feel that they're okay and that they're not alone, and that regardless of what kind of trauma they've endured, the point is that they've endured it. The point is that they're strong enough to endure it, and they will get through it. And yeah, just because it's dark today doesn't mean that the sun will not come out tomorrow. Just keep being positive and keep, don't let go of your dreams, and yeah, just stay positive. That's just it. Thanks for listening, guys. Much love and light. Until the next one. Ciao.